Hi guys, how are you all today morning? Good morning. Today is 20th October 2023. My name is T.S.V. Raghavan and I live in Chennai, Tamil Nadu, India. This is my spiritual vlog on YouTube. Hardan, 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 Haribol, TRSV, Nectar, NECTAR, Nectar. In this particular vlog, in all my previous videos, we have been discussing about the knowledge and information that we have gleaned through the study of spiritual books, scriptures, contemplation on the material universe, and meditation on the spiritual universe. This particular video in this vlog is no exception to that rule. In fact, it is a mere continuation of all that we have been doing in all my previous videos. Kindly subscribe to this vlog and press the bell icon so that I may keep reminding you of all my previous, present and future videos. So let us continue with our topic for discussion for today's video. In the past few videos, we have been trying to analyze two terms which are frequently used while describing the psyche of any human living entity. These two terms are known as intelligence and cunning. It has been widely accepted by now that when the head of a particular human living entity, whether male or female, rules the heart of that human living entity, then that person becomes intelligent. Whereas when the same person's heart starts ruling the head of the same human living entity, whether male or female, then that same person becomes what is known as cunning. This is a widely accepted theory. However, we must notice here that both the head and the heart of a human living entity belongs to the fourth layer that envelops the spirit soul of that living entity with four layers of material body. The fourth layer is known as gross body. This gross body is made up of four natural elements, namely air, fire, water, and earth. The head and the heart both belong to this gross body. In other words, when we are talking about intelligence and cunning of a human living entity, we must keep in mind that we are talking not about all the four layers, but only about the gross body. Hence, when we say the head ruling the heart, we must take into account only the vibrations from the astral mind, that is the second layer of the four of layers that envelop the spirit soul. And when we say about heart ruling the head, then we are talking about the vibrations of the etheric body of senses alone. That is, this is a constant tussle between the astral mind, that is head, and the etheric senses, that is the heart. The causal body of intelligence, which forms the first layer, hardly takes part in this tussle between the astral mind and the etheric senses. The astral mind has feelings and emotions, and it is responsible for creativity, business acumen, ambition, determination, hard work, success, karma, etc. of a human living entity. Whereas this etheric body of senses answers only to the five senses, namely sight, which is represented by two eyes, hearing, which is represented by two ears, smell, that is represented by two nostrils, taste, that is represented by the tongue, and the finally touch, which is represented by the skin and the genitals of the gross body of a human living entity. Thus, we must remember this before proceeding further. In this process of analyzing intelligence and cunning of a human living entity, we have been discussing several case histories to authenticate this theory about the head ruling the heart or the heart ruling the head. Now, today we will talk about another equally enriching and interesting case history. There is one state in India called Rajasthan. In this Rajasthan lives a community called the Marwadis, which is essentially a business, trading, and commerce oriented community. It is full of very successful businessmen, and their financial backing gives a lot of support to the spinal cord of the financial district of India. In this Marwadi company, which is spread all over the state of Rajasthan, lived one particular family in one particular township in Rajasthan. This particular family was surnamed Goenkas. This affluent, intelligent, ambitious, and hard-working family was totally focused in the business of money lending in the initial stages of its origin. In other words, when this Goenka family spread its wings in the business community of Marwadis in Rajasthan, it started with the business of money lending as the others usually did. Now, this company started in the beginning of the 19th century. Thus, generation after generation, people in this family of Goenkas indulge in this activity of money lending, trading, distribution, etc., slowly growing into commerce and industry. Thanks to the success in the money lending business, this family, generation after generation, began acquiring businesses, trading concerns, distribution businesses, and other small industries over the years. Now we will come to the later part of 19th century, 20th century. Here, one particular businessman decided to distribute his own property inherited from his own ancestors in the business to his own children who could start their own money lending or any other business in the business community of India. One such branch of the family relocated to Calcutta, now Kolkata, which was till 1911 the capital of India. Here they continued with their money lending business. They went on sedentarily without any upheaval in their individual business or families till in the early 60s, one of the patriarchs of that branch of Goenka family distributed his own property among his own offsprings in the family. One such Goenka was very much interested in purchasing businesses of all kinds as investment in his own business in money lending in the Goenka family. This guy began to purchase businesses, trading concerns, agencies, etc., and thus he got established in the commercial side of business in the Kolkata market. This man had three sons. The eldest Rama Prasad, the second Ganga Prasad, and the third Jamuna Prasad. As the family was surnamed Goenka, hence the first became Rama Prasad Goenka, the second Ganga Prasad Goenka, and the third Jamuna Prasad Goenka. It is about this Rama Prasad Goenka that we are going to talk in this particular case history to find out how a person whose head firmly sits on his shoulders and rules his heart progresses in life. Now, Rama Prasad Goenka was born in March 1931 or 32 as the eldest son in that particular branch of the Goenka family. This guy had already come into an affluent and thriving business family thanks to the intelligence and foresight of his own father. Initially, this boy, as a teenager and uh, an adult, early adult, had dreamy eyes. He dreamt of becoming a businessman and plus an intellectual, and so he spent some years in the city of Athens in Greece trying to do some graduation in history. Here he graduated, but soon, because of his own innate business acumen and intelligence, realized that he was cut out for business only. So this guy came back to India to join his father in their already existing business. The father sent this boy to various companies which were thriving at that time, which this father intended to purchase someday or the other, but they were in the hands of the colonial Britishers. There were some initial teething troubles for Ramaprasad, where he really got upset and angry thanks to the racial prejudice of the colonial Britishers. But he was suitably chastised by his father, who told him that it is better to have your head rule your heart in the long run than to have it the other way around. Anyway, Rama Prasad Goenka was quite intelligent on his own, and so he could understand and accept his own father's sane advice. After working in his father's business for a long time, and after cooperating with the machinations, plans, and ambitions of his own father, who was acquiring businesses after businesses, Rama Prasad one day decided that enough was enough and that he must branch out on his own. Just like his father had initially inherited his own share of property in the Goenka family in the early 60s. Similarly, Rama Prasad suggested to his father that he and his two younger siblings should also inherit their own share of property in the family business. The father initially was pained by this decision, but then, being a very intelligent and astute businessman himself, he decided that this would be a sane decision. He had 33 companies and trading concerns in his own belt by the year 1978. The sane old man distributed these 33 companies among his three sons, like every brother got 11 companies each. Thus, this old man washed off his hands on in the family business to concentrate and pursue other interests in our life. Rama Prasad inherited 11 companies. For a long time, almost 40 years, Rama Prasad had been waiting for this. He had had very lofty plans, and he intended to succeed in this takeover business of investments in his money lending and trading business. With these companies and with a substantial amount of cash, he began acquiring businesses after businesses. Among them were several very famous Indian companies like Seat Tires, Harrison Malayalam, and one electricity company that provided electricity to the city of Calcutta. This man was quite astute and sane. He could read the balance sheets of various companies very well. Even those companies which were on the verge of selling themselves in the stock exchange, he could realize that the same companies had very secret reserves in the forms of quite a few real estate lucrative pieces of land all over the country. This made this Mr. Rama Prasad Goenka a legendary takeover artist. So much so that within 10 years he was considered to be a wizard in that game. He acquired businesses all over the country and he concentrated in his office in Calcutta where he worked day and night trying to expand his business. Napoleon Bonaparte has said that the secret of success lies in three factors. First, limitless ambition. Second, ceaseless industry. And third, a determination to succeed. Mr. Rama Prasad Goenka had it all. Besides this, he had a vision of the business and commerce of the market in India at that time. He could understand demand and supply of various commodities all over the country very well. He purchased Seat tires only because he knew that the demand for tires and tubes in the expanding Indian economy is going to increase further in the coming years, as a result of which his Seat tires and its sales picked up very fast and the share prices of the same company went to dizzy heights in the Bombay and Calcutta Stock Exchange. At that time, there was another young man who was also born on the same day of March that Mr. Ramaprasad Goenka did, but he was born in the early 1950s. His name was Manohar Chhabria, also known as Manu Chhabria. This boy was equally intelligent and had an excellent vision and foresight. He was the elder son of a person who had an electronics shop in Delhi. Initially, it was an electrical shop, but because of the demand for electronics goods, they had converted the same shop into an electronics shop. This bright young man went to Middle East where he managed to acquire agency for some Japanese very successful electronic companies like Sony, Sumitomo, Sanyo, etc. Thus, within years, this young man began making money manifolds hand over fist. Within a few years, this guy had already become so rich that he also wanted to concentrate on takeover bits in the Indian industry. However, the business community in India termed him as a corporate predator and not a takeover artist that it gave the credit to Mr. Rama Prasad Goenka. While Mr. Rama Prasad Goenka was called a takeover artist, this Manu Chabria was called a corporate predator, probably because of his own humble backgrounds as a mere shopkeeper in Delhi, who had now held a distribution agency in some Japanese companies in Middle East. However, these two joined together to take over businesses in India with vengeance. And how? They set their sights on another tire company called Apollo. These two began acquiring shares of Apollo with a vengeance in India. But lo and behold, after a lot of manipulations and machinations, it was decided by Mr. Ramaprasad Goenka to give Apollo Tyres to Mr. Manu Chabria as a sole owner of that particular company. Mr. Manu Chabria, who also had his head rule his heart, came up in leaps and bounds in the corporate takeover business, and soon he also began acquiring businesses not only in India but also in Middle East and in other countries around the world. This guy, Mr. Manu Chabria, was only 56 when he passed on, leaving his own corporate empire consisting of several business concerns to his own younger brother and his two daughters. That is, Mr. Manu Chabria's two daughters and his own younger brother. Mr. Rama Prasad Goenka, also who was getting on in age, decided to divide his own flourishing business empire into two. He had two sons. One was called Harsh Goenka and the second Sanjeev Goenka. Meanwhile, Mr. Ramaprasad, during his active period, was also a politician of sorts who backed the Indira Gandhi Congress government during this period. In fact, this man had to go to prison a couple of times as a political prisoner thanks to his dabbling in politics. But this was not very important. His own success in the corporate industry grew manifold, and thus, when he ultimately retired in his 80s, he had already built such a huge business empire that when it was divided into two between his two sons, one son had his own headquarters in the city of Kolkata, and the other in the city of Mumbai. This shows how much one person whose head rules his heart can achieve if he has the required ambition, hard work, and determination to succeed, along with a vision that will help him or her to progress in the materialistic world. Mr. Ramaprasad Goenka passed on into in his 80s, but his legacy and his indispensability, or so-called indispensability, remains alive even today. Even today, when both Mr. Ramaprasad Goenka and Mr. Manu Chabaria are no more with us, they are still remembered for the sheer intelligence and genius in controlling the market in the Indian and international business world. We must all take a leaf out of the lives of people like Mr. Ramaprasad Goenka and Manu Chabria and try to emulate them if we want to succeed in life. The secrets of success include the main factor of allowing your own head and astral mind to rule your own etheric senses and etheric body, which is a part of your heart. That is, when we talk about astral mind, we talk about the head of the gross body, and when we talk about the etheric senses, we talk about the heart. We must always make sure that our head, which is astral mind, rules our heart, which is etheric senses. This is the main secret for our doing something in this material world. We may go spiritual later on, but when we have come into this material world, we must make sure that we reach a saturation point in success in the material world before graduating into the spiritual world. The ultimate aim of every human living entity, whether male or female, is to contemplate on the material world for material success, then meditate on the spiritual world for spiritual success, get self-realized as a person who is not a living entity but a spirit soul, get evolved as a spirit soul, ultimately get liberated from this endless cycle of births and deaths in this material world, and then finally get delivered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead as an evolved soul. This must be the purpose of every one of us in this world. Kindly let me know what you think of my talk on this particular case history. Please give me your own expert opinions, thoughts, ideas, and views so that I may blend everything together for the sake of this society. Before concluding, let me remind you that I am also a published author with Amazon Kindle and paperback. I write on spiritualism, fiction, and assorted subjects. Spiritualism happens to be my favorite subject. Till we meet in my next video, it is good morning from TSV Raghavan